Hello, my little sparkles. Welcome back to Roslyn Raves, and today I'm going to be raving about Kuromi. If you haven't seen my Instagram or joined my Twitch or anything, I am a big fan of Kuromi, but I wasn't always a big fan of Kuromi. I wouldn't say I hated Kuromi, but I used to not really care about her at all. And today I'm going to share that story of how it all started, of how I became basically a super fan, how I became practically obsessed at this point. So strap on in while I tell you how the saga essentially began. Now, it's not necessarily a long story, but here we go. Now, I had heard of Sanrio in general, but I hadn't heard of the other characters, but I knew for a while that they were making their way back to the States. I saw Hello Kitty, I saw some of the other characters like My Melody and Bats Maru and stuff, and I always go to the store Hot Topic and such. I was getting into Busy Pop and whatnot, and I like to get into goth clothes and whatnot, and so I would pop in and out and stuff, or I would get it advertised on my phone, and I was hearing a bit more about some of the characters. And for me, I don't like getting into really popular shows because for me it's usually a miss or so. It might be a hit, it might be a miss. And I was hearing about Sanrio characters and I'm like, oh, okay. And I was hearing about some of the characters, how My Melody was the cutesy character, how Pom Pom Puddin' was I don't know, just one of the lazy characters, and Pachaco was the sporty one. So everyone had their tag. And I was like, oh, I like one of the more gothy punk characters. So there's probably one for that typical. So yeah. And then I saw and heard about Kuromi. I saw that and I'm like, okay, she's just trying to be out there. She's just trying to be punk. There's always one of those characters, and this has to be yours, right? I don't like being forced to like one character. I like being given a couple options and being able to choose one, but it seemed like she was the only one. So I was like, nah, not for me. And I just moved on with my day. It actually had been a couple weeks or months, I'm not really sure, but it had been a while. And one of my friends said, hey, let's go hang out. And we went to the mall. And we were walking around a store that's known for having a mix of anime merch, probably some of their cartoon stuff, I can't remember. And I saw some Sanrio merch, and I saw that not only did I see Kuromi stuff, I specifically remember that Kuromi was having two sticker packs. One where she was on a rose, it was purple, she was sitting back chilling, she had that mischievous smirk of hers, and it was kind of gothic looking, and I love purple, okay? But she was sitting back on it, and she was having that smirk of hers, and it looked kind of gothy and stuff, and she was sitting back on it, and it looked gothy. And then there was another set of stickers, and on those set of stickers, the second pack, she was sitting on a unicorn. She was sitting on a unicorn. It was a bit more pinkish, but not really. And she was sitting on it. She was running around. She was looking so adorable, but it wasn't punkish or anything. And I was thinking to myself, are you serious? Are you for real? She can be punk, but at the same time, she can like cute stuff. She is one of two. She can be punky, but at the same time, she can be adorable. She can be both. And that's when I started getting obsessed with her. Because I like that. You can be both. You can be gothy, but also be really into cute stuff. And when I started looking more into her, I found out that she was part of a biker gang. Her phrase is, or some of her phrases are cheeky but charming. She's punky but also girly, which personally I don't like that phrase. I like it. I kind of change it for myself, or like punk girly. So you can like both. That's what I like about her. She's both. She's punky girly. She can go between both, and I like that confidence. And depending on when I found out that she's in other shows, she has like a TikTok, she has like a bunch of stuff. I started falling into the hole, and my wallet has been depressed ever since, because then I started finding more merch. It's just an endless hole of merch and stuff. And I've been trying to slow down on it. I've been trying to be more picky. That's my best thing, is I've been trying to be way more picky once I found out that they never stopped making merch. Once I found out they never stopped making merch. And yeah, and that's how it's been ever since. But I feel like that's a very good representation for me, is I can go between the two. I love going between the two, gothy, girly, and all this and that. And she does both. She loves writing in a diary. She loves romance stories. She loves freaking out over guys. She is stubborn. She is so much. I'm surprised she has so much stuff, to be honest. There are a couple other things that I'm a bit more hesitant on, like she really likes Halloween, but that's okay. We both like different holidays and whatnot, but she's still a supportive friend, and all her Hello Kitty friend world still like love her and stuff, and they accept her, and I like the whole world as it is. But that is honestly the story of me not liking Kuromi, but now being obsessed with her. I love specifically collecting plushies. I like seeing her in different designs. And then I'll do like figures, pins, and things like that. But I'll really like collect most things, to be honest. But again, I'll be picky. The past year or so has been kind of a bit rarer for merch. Not sure why, especially after this year's voting stuff, but yeah, it is what it is. I was inspired to do this podcast from, sorry if I say her name wrong, Sophia, after seeing, she's another VTuber, after seeing her video of how she got into seeing Kuromi and liking her so much, and seeing how Kuromi inspires her. Every time I see Kuromi, I feel encouraged to just not care anymore. Not care anymore on how other people's opinions affect me, not caring what other people think, and just doing my own thing. Just doing my own thing. I have to remember that. Social anxiety is real, and that's one of the things that I struggle with at times. And I have to remember just to be me and not care. Because at the end of the day, it's what matters to me. And I should sit at the table where I'm celebrated and not tolerated. And everything else will fall into place. And if I learn how to love myself, everyone else will too. That's the first thing you gotta do. And Kuromi reminds me of that. She really loves herself, and I love that about her. Yep, she reminds me of that. That's why I find her so inspirational. That's why I love collecting things of her. That's why I find her so cute. And no matter what she's doing. So, yeah. She's my obsession. I have other ones too, but she's my most favorite one. I wish I could show everyone my room and stuff. But if you just check out my Instagram and scroll, you could see all the collections that I have of her. I recommend checking it out if you want to see. But yeah, that's my story of how I found her. Didn't really care for her at first, but then, yeah, I am obsessed. And that's a good thing. She inspires me. But what do you Sparkles think? What inspires you, and how did it start? How did it get you inspired? What do you like about it? I would love to hear those stories. I love reading all of your stories. But anyways, I'll see you Sparkles next time. Bye bye.